Thank you. All right. Welcome to the Suffolk Conservation Commission meeting Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. The meeting is taking place at 7 o'clock, conference room 3. It is being held hybrid, meeting both in person and via Zoom. Welcome to our Zoom friends. The meeting is also being recorded, so if you do not want to be recorded, then I ask that you leave the meeting, but we are recording regardless. And so right from there, why don't we start off with any public comments? Is there anybody? Let's start with people in the room. Any public comments from anybody in the room?
Can you make note of the members in attendance, please?
I can actually. Thank you for that. So from a commissioner's perspective, we have Jerry Patria, Kevin Solak, Norm Cheevers, Andrew Reardon, and myself, David McWilliams. So you have a quorum of. Thanks for reminding me, Jean. Thanks for keeping me on track.
I'm also here.
Sabrina Pooler, our coordinator, is here as well. Is there any public comments from anybody on the Zoom meeting?
Yeah, hi, Bert Hanson, 153 Mort Vining Road. I'm just curious if I understand the new owner of Mort Vining Road is going to take it out of Chapter 61A, and I wonder if the Conservation Commission is aware of that and what if there might be any action.
Well, I think there's a general awareness of it. I don't believe we've had a conversation as a committee as of yet, Bert. So,
Okay.
I don't know if I see that on the agenda.
No,
It was last time, is he talking 75 Mort Vining Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on, it was last meeting and we discussed it.
We did.
because
There you go.
Because
There goes
we-
my
because
memory.
Val sent us something saying, is this adequate for you guys as far as the correct verbiage for review? And so, and we
Right.
had updated him saying it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. So Val did come in last meeting. His notice to the town was not sufficient. So we
Right.
asked him to go back and do a formal notification and that we would have further discussion once it was a formal notification to the town. So at this point, since there's been nothing formally presented to the town, we're kind of waiting and seeing.
Okay, gotcha. I thought that might be the case, but I just wanted to check in.
Thank you. Yeah, since we didn't vote on anything, I totally forgot about it, so my apologies. All right. So let's take a look at the meeting minutes from December 19th, 2022. I believe Sabrina has passed these out as well as they came across in an email. Has anybody gone through and read through these?
Yes. The second sentence of the Oak Ridge Estates needs to have the word with put in after the word is filed, I think.
Whereabouts? Second sentence?
Yeah, Mr. Selvey submitted a revised plan, noted that all town departments are filed with in accordance. Word with isn't there. Because he had to file with all the other
Did you get,
departments.
did you get that, Jean?
No, actually, I think I would like to change it different than that, Andy.
But yeah, it's something like that. It's something
After town department, I could say approval requests are filed in accordance with the requirements of approvals.
Repeat that, Norm.
All other applicable town departments add approval requests are filed in accordance with the requirements of approval.
Yeah, like that.
Are filed in accordance with, I think that sounds fine.
Yeah,
That all other town department are filed with, all other town departments are filed with in accordance.
They're filed in accordance.
Well, I would do departments and not department singular anyway.
Yeah, I just don't understand legal evidently.
I would change requirements of approvals to requirements for approvals. But other than that, I think it's worded fine.
Does anyone have an extra? No, I got, thank you. I'm not sure. Jean can hear any of this.
And Norm, can you just send Jean just a quick blurb with.
Yep, be glad to.
Is there anything else in the minutes that need to be addressed, adjusted, changed?
On the same heading, Oak Ridge Estates, the second paragraph, as there was no further comments or discussion, Commissioner Patria.
Oh, what got an eye?
Patria, it's not spelled correctly.
Not a big deal.
Petra.
And then,
Good catch, Norm.
then at the bottom of the page on the right-hand side, Mr. Jesse Saltmark's property owner, I'm not sure what's that's there for.
It's because he was basically speaking for himself for the extension.
So do we just need to move it to the left? Is that
I
what?
think she always has them to the right,
Oh, okay.
because you can see up on the top of that page as well, you have Mr. Steve Salvini,
Okay.
Salvini Associates.
Okay,
That's
I'm fine with that. And that's all I had.
All right. Unless anybody else has anything else, I will take a motion to accept the minute.
Move to accept the minutes as
Can I
amended.
ask one question? Old business, ice out was December 1st.
Yep,
Isn't ice out when the ice ends? That usually like April, ice is out of the lake.
ice out basically means you need to take your structure out of the lake by the ice out date, which is December 1st. It's like, there's ice, take it out. I don't know
I've
if
always
that's
heard it.
why it's called that, but
LLC's always use that term. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's.
I've always heard it that ice out is in the spring when the ice is out and it's safe to
It's
navigate.
like shalom. It's good for hello and goodbye.
Oh, aloha.
Yes. So there we go.
All right.
It works. It works.
Ice is out and ice is out. It works both ways.
Exactly. Get your ice out of the way. All right,
So I move to accept the minutes as amended for December 19th, 22.
okay, Jerry Patria, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Kevin Zulak seconds, Norm,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Dave, I, all right, minutes, I'm done.
let me get that passed around and sign. It's in the back. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so while that's going around, let's talk about 11 North Pond Road. The applicant requests to remove some erosion controls before the certificate of compliance is issued. So who do we have for 11 North Pond Road? Oh, wow, a whole row. How you guys doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Who's gonna speak on behalf of 11 North Pond?
David, are all of these people signed in?
Yeah,
Legibly.
yes.
I can't read anything.
Yes, Gene, they are. So who wants to speak on behalf of 11 North Pond?
Well, we want to remove the silt fence on.
Who's speaking? Can you just,
Andy Hartley from Wyman Construction,
okay, Andy.
and we did all the work along the lake.
Yeah.
And we are done with everything. Head road that we got planned along the property line.
Yeah.
We want to remove the silt fence in front of the wall, all the way to the base of the lake to the left, on the step to the left. And just leave it where we have to put the hedgerow in. And that's,
So where the work is done,
yes.
right? The plantings are there. Did you wind up going out there? I saw on an email you said you were,
I'm just trying to figure out how to get this slideshow going. Oops. No, that's not, I mean,
that's the property.
that's one of them.
Yeah, the
Let's
edge of it.
just do shift and then open. Jean, you want to share the, wait, or I share the screen, right?
Yeah, you can
Where?
share it on that computer.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. Should be on the television.
It's on there.
Okay. So this is the view going down.
Mhm.
You can sort of see the erosion controls right there. And then let's just keep going. Whoopsies.
Oh. I haven't seen that yet. Looks good. Go back to that last one. there.
It's slow. Or I'm not doing
Last
it.
time I was out there was August,
Yes.
so imagine some stuff's been done.
All right, well, this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
bottom. This is the shoreline.
Oh, that looks great.
That whole place right there, we see the silt fence, we
Mhm.
moved that silt fence from right in the corner of the step on the left-hand side. You see it right there?
Yeah.
You want to remove the silt fence from that point all the way to the boat that's in the side there,
Mhm.
and just move the silt fence to the corner of the step there. Because all that is all
Corner of the step here on the left.
This one?
correct, right there.
So scoot it over.
Yeah,
Oops.
reuse the silt fence, in other words, just slide it down.
Yeah, put a new silt fence in from that point to there to remove the other one.
And that's where that almost looks like that path is
Correct,
coming down.
yes.
Yeah,
Right,
which where the majority of the runoffs should be coming down from there anyways.
right. So it's just basically,
This is the
right
view.
where you're looking right now, just silt fence going across.
Behind.
All that will be protected and closed. The left corner, that's the bottom of the, that's the side of the wall right there where the arrow is.
Mhm.
Want to go from there all the way to the right. And just put the silt fence going across there.
So to the left of that, then, from this perspective, all the work is done, nothing is gonna be done, there's gonna be no people in there, no equipment,
No,
other than the Philo family having fun on the beach,
correct,
right?
correct.
I don't have a problem with it, I don't know what,
Yeah, the wall
Rest
looks,
of the group
the wall
thinks.
looks good.
I mean, if we're confident that nothing beyond that left step is gonna erode any further, then yeah, I would just protect the area where the work's happening.
Maybe kick it in 5 or 10 feet, just in case something wants to go around the corner. I don't know.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Sometimes that happens, but yeah, I mean, generally that's,
Okay.
So if you're going to do that, you wanna come out and see the work once you move the fence, if you don't mind,
That's fine.
just make sure
Yep. Make
that
sure
it's there, that would be my request,
Yeah,
you know.
sounds good. And I like the idea of the new silt fence because I did notice, I pointed out, some of it was, a little worn.
Yeah, a little worn.
But still doing its job.
Correct.
Yep.
boy, what a difference.
It's amazing.
Man.
All right, so why don't we make this official, and let's just have a vote from the committee, whether or not you would agree to approve the, adjustment of the silt fences. So I'll make a motion to approve them adjusting the silt fence until, the project is completed and their certificate of compliance is issued back to them. So I made the motion. I'll second that motion. Andy seconds. Kevin?
Aye.
Jerry, aye. Thank you. So just let us know when you're gonna do that work, Sabrina, and hopefully another one of us can go out and take a look. All right. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else on that? All right, moving on to 13 North Pond Road. Responded to a report of a possible septic and leach field not decommissioned.
Did I spell leech wrong?
Leash.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
Oh,
The leash field,
a leach
the
field.
dogs were running.
Yeah. All right, so you and Tom.
Fitzgerald.
The interim, always interim health inspector went out there and took a look at it.
Yeah.
So what was the conclusion of your visit and what was Tom's take on it?
So basically, as far as the Conservation Commission standpoint, I don't feel like we have any. I don't know,
Jurisdiction?
play jurisdiction with it. There was an old septic and an old leach field. Tom checked into it and he, I guess, looked inside and it was just water. So he said there isn't any sort of danger of hazardous waste leaching into the neighbors or into neighbor's yard or into the lake.
Yeah.
So it's okay as far as,
So
But I
it's
know.
a health department issue, not a conservation issue. I know one of the neighbors was going to reach out to the state regarding it. Have you
Yeah.
Heard anything back?
no,
from
and
that?
but this is why I wanted to just let you guys know in case you guys got any emails or anything, just so you know.
It's empty, right? There's no.
He said it's filled with water. I don't really know what that means.
Probably just rainwater and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I don't know, but he didn't seem very concerned with it.
So there's nothing that can contaminate the lakes. That would be our concern.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that would be up to them to test it, but, you know, we gotta go push a health inspector.
Especially if it's a real old one. That leach field is probably dried out by now, so.
I don't even know
When was
where
the
it
last time-
is.
So is there a house on the lot then?
there is no house on the lot. That's lot, you've been there, 13,
Oh,
one
that
with
was-
that huge
one?
hill.
The steep.
So there was an existing septic. on-
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that Property or something?
I think we were standing right near it one time, you and I, when we were hanging under the trees to keep from falling down.
It's a small lot, you cannot
Yeah.
stand it.
So it wasn't, it wasn't what I thought it was then. Must be up top.
It's towards the bottom.
Oh,
So you know where the driveway is and like the bottom left-hand corner of the driveway or the left-hand corner of the property line? It's if you go in a little and then
all right.
it's just right, yeah, the corner.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll leave that up to Tom,
Yeah.
and if the state comes back with something that we have to address, we'll address it, but right now we'll leave that with the health inspector.
Yep.
Okay, 726 College Highway responded to a report, large soil stockpile near a stream on agricultural land, isn't that the Wally property?
Yes, so yeah, Mass DEP contacted me. And, oh, let me do screen share.
I went by there today.
How did it look? Big?
Well, I mean, it's a big pile of
It's a
dirt,
big pile of dirt.
you know,
So-
but he's got the silt
Silt fence, yep.
fencing all the way down and around the bottom of it, so
Yep.
it didn't look like anything was running off of it.
So yep, so, this is just the area where it is, right here is College Highway. Down over here is where the, brewery is.
That's
And,
Ray's right across the street.
oh, okay,
Oh,
and then let me just bring up the picture of the big pile. So Mass DEP was concerned because there's a stream right here. So I called up Mr. Wally and asked him to do something, put some sort of erosion control in there to make sure that none of that goes into the stream. So he put up silt fences. I'm not sure if you guys want anything more than that, if you want him to seed it with, I think, winter wheat, winter rye, something to make sure if we get any wind events, it doesn't like blow away.
Mm. Is there any evidence of, infiltration into the water?
I actually have not gone back there.
Okay,
Not that I can see.
no.
No.
It's probably berms.
Well, Mr. Wally says he has no intention on losing his loan.
It's loam, stuff, so.
So, but,
All right, let's just keep an eye on
okay,
Right.
it. Anything else on that?
that I think is it. So
Okay.
again, sort of like letting you guys know what's going on. I'm gonna stop my screen share, stop share. Okay. That's that.
All right, 19 South Long Yard. Reports of continued land operation.
Yeah. Let me just get the. Again, this is a
Can you,
map,
do you have that map,
the map. Sure.
the picture with the property lines?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. So Mass DEP has contacted me because A neighbor contacted Mass DEP about filling in structures and land without permits, and they would like someone to check it out and get back to him. So as far as permits, I'm not sure if that's building permits or wetland permits, but let me just,
Second one. from the top.
thank you. And I need to do a screen share.
So is everybody familiar with what's going on this property? I know it's come before the commission in the past. There's a dispute between two neighbors over work that is done. That's okay. So right here, there is a gully that runs down to Great Brook. And water from this property has been sheeting off and causing erosion that goes down into that gully, carrying sediment all the way down into Great Brook. Right now, this property is owned by a neighbor, the Yellen family, and they have filed complaints against this is the DeMay family on multiple occasions about this water. So we've had meetings with him and he has put into place erosion control. But we need to relook at it. It's been some time. We want to make sure that it's actually holding. But one of the other issues that's been going on is there's this sliver of land right here that belongs to the Southwick Conservation Commission. It belongs to the town of Southwick. Conservation is the stewards of the land. So let's get it right. We don't own it. The town owns it. Just like other properties, we are the stewards of the land. What you can see is there's been a ton of encroachment from the landowner into conservation, building sheds. This is a barn that was going up or is still going up where he's actually encroached over the property line.
The barn's completed now.
It is. So this is a recent map. This mapping software has been updated. Is it?
So I didn't know about this particular aerial photography part in the Southwick mapping system. This is Google. This is a Google satellite from, I think, 2021. So when Mass DEP contacted us, I think this is what they saw when they said, we think that there's structures, you know, within the 200-foot.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like the 200-foot line is like right where our property line is, according to another map that I don't have with me right now. That's another complexity to it.
So there's a couple of things that are going on.
Yeah.
One is they're building within the riverfront area, which is a Wetland Protections Act violation, straight up, right? The other one is they're building on town property, which now becomes a town liability issue, right? If they're in the middle of doing construction and somebody gets hurt and it's on town property, you know, who's liable for it? So I think the next step that we have to do is reach out to town council
Okay.
and find out exactly what needs to take place on that property.
Mhm.
And I would assume that they're gonna say that those buildings have to be removed, but I'll leave that up to town council. Maybe there's a way that they can work out some sort of arrangement with the DeMays. I don't know, but to me, it's a huge liability issue at this point that has to go to town council.
One of my concerns is how accurate is that line,
Well,
okay? And we don't know,
that's a concern too.
you know?
And we had talked about getting a new survey done.
Yeah,
Even if that line is plus or minus 20 feet, certainly this other building.
well, definitely that building, there's no question about it.
Does this guy also own that property?
No, that's town Southwick property as
That,
well.
right
I
there,
can
that's
actually-
Great Brook.
This property?
Yeah.
That's all Great Brook under there. You
That's all
can't see it
private.
because of the canopy.
Okay.
If you want, I can bring this up online and then measure it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, so like, right along here is a rail trail. And Great Brook kind of meanders through here. and then goes exits out that way. But all of this right here, this, when you look at probably right where these properties are, that drops straight down. It's probably a 30-foot drop off right down to the brook. So anything beyond here is water.
And the flag actually looks like the water, the black under the trees,
Yeah.
like here.
So I sent them a letter. January 4th was the date. And I know we had a conversation with them July 18th about the pop-up structure.
Yeah.
Which is right here. And so they have a chicken coop.
Yeah. I
Right
know
there.
that.
And we had asked them like, basically get it off conservation land.
Mm.
So that letter was like a follow-up saying, hey,
Yeah.
we want to know how you're doing. It's been like 6 months. And then Cindy, right, Cindy? Yeah, Cindy DeMay emailed me back saying that,
What's the date on that?
January 10th.
Okay.
She said that her husband had removed the cover at the top. I think she meant that cover, the easy up.
Yeah,
She didn't mention the chicken coop. She also said the pipe has been removed and replaced with bales as planned. And that, her husband Drew is getting back surgery and he's unable to attend the February 6th meeting. Cause I asked them to come to the meeting to fill us in on what they've done so far. And this was before I saw this picture.
So is that building, this building was started after we met with them this summer?
Before.
They've started that building before, while we had already met?
yeah. but
I
we
guess
didn't-
I asked
Like,
that
I
wrong.
think it was
That
already
building was going up before or after we met with them in July?
before.
It was going up before?
Yeah, but I didn't have that
Before
image.
July.
And one of the things that we came to an agreement at the meeting was he was going to cease and desist any further construction on the property without coming before us to make sure that that he is not encroaching on town property or building within the wetlands. So, I think what we need to do is make it an official, send an enforcement letter about no construction on the property without having a conversation with us first. And then have a conversation with town council about, we should probably force the town to do another survey on that piece of property.
Force the town,
Request.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
town.
the town, I think the town.
Have we talked to the building department? Did they get a building permit for that?
There's supposed to
Is-
have been a survey done to the property before a building permit was signed off.
Was there a building permit? Is there a building permit for it?
Yeah, so Kyle, our building inspector,
Mhm.
was on vacation apparently, and the person filling in for him signed off on this building permit.
So that's another problem that we could, that potentially it could be on the town because we issued a building, the town issued him a building permit for the structure.
Yeah, which,
More complexity.
yeah,
It's gonna be not easy.
I just think we need to put it in writing that we don't want any more work going on over there without coming before the commission.
So when you say no more work at all on their property, anywhere on their property?
No more work. in this
Using
disputed
that map.
territory.
Using that map. Say no more work,
On anything that is considered disputed property with the town,
okay,
all right? And then I can reach out to Mr. Coyle. Attorney Coyle. We should go through Carl first.
yeah,
And basically, this is where this stands. And, from a liability standpoint, we need to find out whether or not this is on town property. And if so, what's the next course of action?
You made a good point about maybe resurveying it too.
Yeah.
How accurate is that? Is that on the assessors and? have to-
Well, right, so, I've had
Looks like we're looking at-
conversations with a couple of people in town and these
Yeah.
maps are better than they were, but no one's gonna stake their
Subjective,
reputations on it.
yeah, could be.
And there should be pins out there, and we walked the property and we couldn't find the pins. It looked like the pins were.
Yeah.
So if you can see that, see
That
how
doesn't
there's
look
sort
like
of
a
like.
straight line at all, you know, it looks like there's a pin right in the corner of that foundation.
Exactly, so there should be a pin there,
Yeah.
and if they built there, they
Uh,
built over it, or
Yeah,
Fucked
if
it out.
it's, if it's a straight line, unless it does a little jog or something, like, you know,
Okay.
which I doubt, but.
It's probably a zoning violation too for setback.
yeah, that was another thing that
Yeah,
came up, because
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
10-foot
Sure.
setback for that piece of property, and yeah,
I guess you got to see what the building permit that was issued, or
Yeah.
there should be a sketch and everything.
Start with that, yeah.
yeah, you would think.
Definitely.
And
No
it was
vacation.
something that I was very cautious of back in 2004 when I got my building permit, which, by the way, was my permit. My plans were drawn and approved, but it listed the correct setbacks, but the buildings designed were not the correct setbacks. I built them correct, but they were represented on the plans incorrectly. The town can go back 5 years and pull a permit on something that's not correct. It's my job and my engineer's job to make sure that I put it on the plan correctly. It's not the town's job to make sure it's right. So they can approve something that's not right, and then they can go back 5 years and say, nope, that's not right. I know there's a foundation in Agawam that was approved, and I don't know if they approved it. It was put in, and the town came back and made them cut a corner off because it was too close to the street. So now the house has 5 sides instead of 4.
Jeez.
It was-
called curvature.
So
Wow,
as much as we'd like to think like, okay, but it's the guy building the thing's job to make sure it's on his property. It's not the town's.
I'd want to be sure.
Right.
yeah. So did you say you were going to ask?
I'll talk to Carl.
Okay, good. All
Try
right.
to reach out to him.
Okay, great.
North Pond Conservation Area continued ATV use. I'm assuming this is regarding the neighbor on Bab Road or just the kids ripping through.
So two things. One is the neighbor on 22 Babb Road. I tried sending, a letter to him basically saying, knock it off. And it got kicked back. It was a certified letter and it got kicked back, so I just got it January 10th, I think. And I called him up and I'm like, what's the best address to send it to you? He's like, just send it regular mail. I think he just didn't get it because he didn't go to the post office or something. So I resent him the email, and just to get like you guys on the same page, I'm gonna show you some more photos. So October 6th, I went on to the North Pond property and put 2 boulders here to prevent any ATV use from 22 Babb.
Well, you're stronger than you look.
Oh, they weren't that heavy.
She works out.
Work out. So-
Sabrina, it's not on
Oh,
the screen.
thank you, thank you. I guess I do this.
Well, you could do either. I mean, if you do share your screen, it's everything. Right now, you're just sharing these pictures.
Oh, okay. Dean, can you see him?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
you
Thank
can
you.
go here if you want.
I'm gonna sneeze. And then, I went back out there about a month and a half later. And the boulder, one of the boulders has been moved and pushed off into the wetland. So, and he took off the fence.
Jeez.
So I was a little mad. Those boulders were heavy.
I went out there in December, just after a snowfall,
Mhm,
and I observed the boulders being moved and the gate being taken down.
mhm,
But there was no tire tracks coming out of 22 Babb.
mhm.
There were tire tracks elsewhere.
That was enough. Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yep. Where
So,
did you see the tire tracks?
Not far from.
Not far. Were
yeah,
they,
One of the branches probably no more than 100 yards.
okay,
Yeah, when it goes to the left one by the vernal pool.
okay. I think that's where, so I got a report from someone saying that they thought a lot of ATV activity. Motor motor
Hmm.
bikes, right?
Dirt bikes.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's that one
Dirt bike.
kid that's always out there. on it.
But this is, I guess this is a different kid or kids. I haven't gone out there to check, but, just to let you guys know, there's more ATV use.
And when I was there, it was a lot of damage from the ATVs.
Okay.
Deep ruts on hills, you know, so, and it was new. So,
Well, I think one of the things we're gonna do come the spring is, put trail cams out there.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's been the plan all along.
Yeah.
Cause I've first tried to stop the kid on the dirt bike on a couple of occasions. At my own peril, he basically just flies right by me, so,
I heard he tried to run down a environmental police officer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but they're.
Yeah.
Have you guys been run over?
Yeah.
No, you-
They do come up our street and going that way.
Oh, they do.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, you know, we can only catch them when we catch them in the act, right? The police are aware of it. The best thing to do is obviously if you guys hear something, call the police, see if they'll show up.
They're going off the rope swing into the cold water.
What's that?
They're going off the rope swing into the cold water
Right now,
it's a new rope stream.
and fires.
Really?
And they
Yeah.
warm up.
well, that's a liability.
Yeah. We heard that young again.
So, called, but my neighbor said no, let them learn a lesson. So I
Oh.
called for
That could be a very hard.
Well,
Can you just, Marianne, can you just announce who you are?
Marion Philo, 11 North Conway.
Marianne File, 11 North Wood Road. Thank you.
Okay.
Since you're officially on the record.
Even-
Sound like a dare though, you know.
So so you sent that back off to Aiden?
Yep. Yep, so, and I told him to contact me when he gets it. So I know,
When did you send that?
January 10th,
So you should have it.
he should.
But it appears as though he's not involved in it any longer, according to Norm and the tire track.
Not necessarily, like, that was just after one snowstorm.
Right.
Cause we saw 4-wheel tracks and that he drives a 4-wheel ATV.
Yeah, big.
And we
John
saw
Deere Gator.
those, so,
Well, I also wanted to pull that rock back up.
yeah, so don't worry, I got that.
The fence is his.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So we can,
We
put
put
a
our own
little,
fence up, but the fence is. his.
yeah,
Okay.
it was suggested to put one of those bright orange snow fences, just like right there. I mean, he can knock it down, but that gives us more reason to, you know, tell him to knock it off.
You electrify it, too. Snow fence is gonna go a lot easier than a rock. Yeah. You know, there's no reason to move the rock. The ATV will go right over the top of it. That was my first thought, like, that rock ain't big enough.
I don't think it's that type of ATV, isn't it more like a golf cart
But you get,
thing?
Yeah,
it's a 6-wheel gator.
yeah,
Oh, would it go over it? Oh.
but if it's not him,
No, from there, it's,
Yeah,
that's his property. That's definitely.
Interesting.
All right, we'll continue to keep working on
Cool.
that issue.
Cool.
Chapter 61 properties for sale, so
there are
3.
four properties. One of them doesn't have an address because it's a back lot.
Okay, so 21 Davis Road,
Mhm.
221 Mort Vining, 233 Mort Vining, back lot property next to South Noski Land Preserve.
So the properties on Mort Vining, I'm actually interested in acquiring, well, not me personally, but for the town. I'm just gonna bring this up. For a couple of reasons. How do you want to open this file? Okay. Why is it doing that? What will happen? For a couple of reasons. One, it butts Sylphida's property, and 2, it is part of the rare species habitat corridor. So that area, there is at least one rare or under special concerned species.
Sabrina, you still have the 2 rocks up on the screen.
Thank you. Stop share that one. Oh, I should have hit new share. Share screen, this one.
So is there a right of first refusal on that property, the one adjacent to the Sofinovsky?
Yes. If they sell it, we have a right of first
First
refusal.
refusal?
Right now, they don't have, as far as I know, they don't have any buyers. I've had a couple people come in and ask about the property. That's why I knew that it was up for sale.
Mhm.
All 3 parcels, this parcel right here, this larger parcel, and then this is a property that's next to Sofinowski, which is right here.
Okay,
Those 3 are all in chapter 61 and they are
Hold on a
all,
second.
Mm.
Okay, you're saying that's Sofinowski right down there? Where's the part of Sofinowski that abuts?
This-
Vining?
it's down further.
Okay,
It's not in this picture. So everything you see in purple, it's a part of the biomap core habitat component rare species core.
Hmm.
So it is listed as important, important land.
Seems to
they-
be yeah.
Yep.
Being that it abuts one that we already steward.
Yeah, yep. So I was thinking of, instead of being reactive, if and when this place does sell, we should be proactive. If you guys agree, and send a letter
Mhm.
to him, to the property owner, saying, we're interested in possibly acquiring this land and start the conversation.
How does Bert feel about this? Bert? There's some other properties on there that, you know, you folks might be interested in as well.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea to reach out to the owner and start that conversation. Because it abuts with the Sofinowski, as we've been saying, so that would be a nice corridor of preserved land.
Right. How about some of the other properties like?
well, let's stick on this one for just 1 second.
Yeah. Okay,
So looking at those properties, right? The fact that we could start to build some sort of wildlife corridor along there is, I think, is a great idea. My only concern is that one plot of land that has the active horse farm on it. I don't know if the town would be interested in purchasing a piece of property that has buildings on it. I don't know. I think that would be more problematic. But I think if we can get the landowner to parse out those other 2 lots that are off Mort Vining, it may be more palatable.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. I just think if we acquired something that had buildings on it, that's a lot of cost to maintain or find
Right.
use for these buildings.
I didn't realize there's kids on it.
Yeah, this is Bert again, 153 Mort Mining Road. That was a big issue when we were talking with the town about 72 Mort Mining. They wanted nothing to do with any buildings.
Right. So, yeah, I think we should proactively have a conversation with the landowner and see what their thoughts are about just parsing those 2 out.
Mhm.
Do you know what the acreages are on 3 of them? Or no?
I had that written down somewhere.
I mean, obviously, the other 2 that would be interested are larger anyways, so I just be curious to see how many acres that one was with the barn on it.
Where did I have that written down? I wanna say the larger one was around 60 acres, smaller one around 30. For all 3 on Zillow, I don't know how official that is. He wants $1.1 million for all 3.
Yeah.
This smaller parcel that's abutting Sofinowski, there's no frontage to,
Well, the smallest one that the town would potentially not be interested in is probably the one that has the most value because it's got that pretty
yeah,
extensive horse barn on it, so.
exactly.
Well, it's got frontage.
I don't know
too,
how
but
you break it
yeah.
apart, but I'm just saying, like, that's
Yeah.
probably,
Well, if you look here, it looks like they're all 3 different deeded properties. They all have different.
This one, this one, this one. And then this larger one, you can see that there's wetlands. Yeah,
Do we?
Right where the
now-
frontage
Now,
is.
how would something like that go? Can the town just make him an offer? You have to wait for him to have another purchase, like an offer on it before we could acquire. Can the town,
So-
well, they could, I guess, potentially outright buy it, but.
They may have to parse it out, like
Yeah.
Dave said, you know.
I mean, Bert, you may know more than I do on this, but I think they have to have an offer
First,
and we can get it through again, first right of refusal, but it has to be a valid appraised.
Yeah.
Appraised value of the property, right?
Right. Yeah,
So-
I'm pretty sure that's true, yeah. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
But I don't think it hurts to start the conversations with the property owner beforehand anyways.
I think we have two options. We could make an offer and before he gets an offer from someone else, or we could utilize the right of first refusal. I think we have both of them. I don't see why we can't say, hey, we're interested in your property, we want to buy it. And then
So
he's
is this
like,
the
okay, I'll
two
work.
21 and 233 more Vining? Is that what we're looking at here?
It is. I think it's 233 and backlot property.
Okay, now,
Or it's
actually,
221, sorry, 221,
They're all the
two
same.
twenty-one, not 223.
yeah. Where's the browser? I'm just gonna go on to the Southwick website.
Okay, while you're doing that, actually,
Yeah.
I picked the right questions on the survey to show tonight and later on.
Okay,
And there's just a lot of public support for acquiring land for wildlife preservation and acquiring land for wildlife habitats. So you'll see those charts shortly.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for picking land, the picking land intelligently.
Yeah.
It's very important, right?
Yeah.
So picking random lots here, there doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of good, but if you can pick tracks that are all together,
Absolutely.
that makes much more sense. And the fact that we've already got land here and we can add on to it makes it ideal for something that you'd be looking to preserve.
And it's good to have that connectivity, especially for this particular rare species of concern that's there.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring it up.
So, I mean, regarding this property, so we're gonna chunk these things up. This property, is anybody against us reaching out to the landowner and having conversations about their intentions?
I don't know. Yeah. Definitely should.
But you bring up a good point. If it's got a building on it, the town's probably not gonna.
Well, I think that needs to be part of the
Right,
conversation.
exactly.
Could we ask the select board and or council before we reach out to this person?
Well, no, it doesn't hurt to have a conversation,
Okay.
but I also think that there's properties that were listed as priority properties. I'm not sure.
This
any
is
of
not,
these Or any of them,
we
but that
only-
list
yeah.
needs to be looked at again.
yeah, we have three properties on that list and we have already acquired one of them, so we have two properties on that list.
Okay,
And it's like, it's hard to foresee things like this coming up as an opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, that list is a bit
no, we
old.
could talk to the select board, but it still doesn't hurt us to talk to this person.
Okay.
Better off to have information before you go to the select board.
That's true.
All right, so we'll reach out to this person. What about the 221 Mont Vernon?
So 221 Mort Vining is, hold on, this is 221 Mort Vining. So
Okay.
this is 221 Mort Vining, this is
233.
233, and then this is the back lot.
Okay, so they're all part and parcel of the same thing. 221, 233.
Yep.
Okay. The 21 Davis Road?
21 Davis Road, I mean, I can show it to you. It's okay.
Yeah, Davis.
Thank you. Let me just show you the wetland resources on here.
I was gonna say, there's some property over there that's soaking wet.
Yeah, this is one of them. So I'm putting on the DEP wetlands filter and the floodplains filter. I don't know if I'm sharing right now. How do I share?
No, you're not, Sabrina.
Sorry,
Go to share screen.
it's gonna be this one. Share. So there's I think this is an intermittent stream that goes in front. This property does have a 75-foot setback, so the house would have to be right around here. If someone wants to build on here. And then these are marsh wooded wetlands back here. So it's a pretty wet piece of property. I think it's 12 acres.
Yeah. I don't know as though it's connected to anything else.
It's not.
Where's the right of way with regard to where that is? Remember the right of way we were dealing with a while back? Going toward,
Oh, the guy that wanted to build the
yeah,
house.
the one that go all the way through to 10-202. Going down toward Claus Anderson.
Was that this particular piece?
Well, it was on Davis. I'm wondering how close it is to that. Oh, it's probably not close, sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Freaking us
I
out.
can't, this laptop. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it looks like.
I need a mouse. Oh, there's a mouse. Jesus.
So does anybody see any interest in that? Particular parcel of land?
Potential homeowner may have trouble building on that with all the wetland down there.
So I'm thinking, if you can't build on it, it's never gonna get built on. Why spend the money on it? I would agree with 21 and 33 more vining, 21 to 23. I'm not sold on this particular one.
As far as the properties on Mort Vining, I did reach out to Fish and Wildlife. Or sorry, the Department of Fish and Game to see if they wanted to help purchase the property because of the rare species component. They said they probably won't be interested in this because one of them is a backlot property.
No
and-
access, right?
Right, and so they suggested that we go through our CPC.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's also a grant, local acquisitions for natural diversity land grant program that they suggested.
That might be attractive.
Yeah.
When are a couple of people gonna work on grants? We have grant people. We need to assign people.
February
I got
first
no
is the deadline for that.
I am.
Carl sent me a reminder.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Possible land stewardship volunteer program.
All right, so in your little packets, I have given you guys a copy. I went looking through old files and I found this Open Space Committee of Southwick Conservation Committee Land Stewardship Volunteer Program Status Report form. So back in the day, oh my goodness, you don't have it? I guess back in the day, people used to do this.
Sabrina, you want to stop sharing your screen?
Yep. Thank you. So this particular one is dated in 2003. So I was thinking about bringing this back. Asking volunteers if they want to fill out this form for the properties that we do have. So the second page or the third page of your packet, I created our own form. Basically mimicking the first form. And I have been working on the town website for conservation. Let me see if I can, oh, I got a screen share, sorry. Screen share. This one. Boards and committees. Conservation Commission. And,
Under volunteering.
yep, under volunteering, the sheet isn't there yet. I still have to work with Jim a little bit on tweaking it. But I have this put up now for volunteering. Basically, it says that our conservation is responsible for approximately 545 acres of land. And we need people to help us with basically like managing that land. Oh, he did put it up. So he put download the land stewardship volunteer report form. So I guess anyone can go online right now and get this form. Yes. Fill it out and then send it to conservation. I also,
So if we look at this, right, so the property is Lipinski, John Saturday. So it just looks like he went through and noted things that need to be addressed. Where did they do the work?
huh?
Where did they do the work?
They may have done the work, you know, they were on top of things back in 2003. Required the replacement of paper signs, so they may have replaced the paper signs there. But I think this is a good idea. It gives us more eyes on the ground, more community involvement. I mean,
How are you gonna get people to do this?
so I guess by word of mouth. Letting people know that this stuff is up on the website now. Let me just go back. Oop. Wait, sorry. So I've been working on conservation land, sort of mini little websites. I've done the Sofinowski Preserve, where we have a trail map that you can access and print out, gives information of the trail with some pictures, the address, because we don't have that up. What permitted uses there are, not permitted uses, features. Oh, sorry. Thank you. And I'm starting to work on the North Pond property with doing this. Hold on. Oop. North Pond Conservation. I don't have all pictures up there, but again, I talk about the preserve. And I'm even including some sounds of the nature that's around there. And then over here on the left is where I put the land stewardship volunteer program status one. I got this, I mean, idea putting it online from the Granby Land Trust because they have a really good volunteerism with land stewardship, and it's on their website. So I figured this would be a good way to start.
How much of this is volunteer and how much is suggestion? In other words, I read this form and I go, okay, I'm gonna suggest that you do these 10 things, but I'm not volunteering to do it. Is that the case here? Are we looking for suggestions or volunteers or both?
Both.
So
I mean, we need
that's what I was getting the impression that this is just like people. Extra eyes on properties in case there's stuff that we miss and then we can address how it gets fixed.
Yeah.
It's just bringing stuff to our attention.
Mhm. Yep.
So it
Like
doesn't-
a wish list or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I've already had some people approach me about like, hey, do you have any volunteer opportunities
Okay.
like on the property? This is what I like to do, what I'm interested, give me a call.
Yeah. One could lead to the other.
Exactly, and that's without me even like.
Yeah.
They just call me up and say this.
Sure.
So I'm like, yeah, that's great, but like, we have no like programs, you know?
Could you put something on like the Southwick community page on Facebook? Just saying
Yes.
this is part of what
Yep.
we're looking to do.
Yep, I can
If
do
you're
that.
Interested,
Yep,
you know, because again, we have a good group of neighbors right now that help out with North Pond. I mean, we
Yeah.
hear from everybody about North Pond, but there's other properties in town too. And I know we have some really good people working with Sofinowski, but the Gorge and the
Mhm.
Pinsky, we don't get so much feedback from. So if we can get people to jump in and say, yeah, let's take a look at that, that would be fantastic. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have it up there. People are either gonna volunteer, or they're not gonna volunteer, but people want to offer us their insight and another set of eyes, as everybody said, I'm all for it. whether or not we can afford to do everything that they bring up is a different matter. But it doesn't hurt to have people go out and say, hey, I noticed this is going on, maybe we should address it.
Mhm.
I think it's a great idea. Yep.
Great. Okay,
So, right,
rock on. I'll keep going with that.
all right. But I would definitely use the Facebook. to let
Yeah.
people know.
Yeah, yep. Will do.
Free webinars open to the public, posted on Concom calendar, Masswoods landowner webinar.
Yeah, so I'm,
That kind of ties back into the conversation about 221 and 233. Isn't that about letting landowners know what they can do with their property?
Yep.
So if we can have contact with that landowner, maybe we can have a conversation with them about this webinar. Gives them a chance to know what their options are.
okay, all right. So yeah, I have put this on the Conservation Commission, website calendar. Am I still screen sharing? Jean, can you see what I see?
This is an attendance.
I just see the conservation front page.
Yep.
Okay.
So the first webinar series starts tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:00 PM. So that's Masswood Landowner Webinar Series. So this is, I'm just gonna go ahead and read a blurb. This is for landowners, and it says, your land provides tremendous benefit to you and to the public. This webinar series will help you decide its future and take steps to formalize a plan to achieve your personal and financial goals. Join us for a 6-part webinar series for landowners interested in planning the future of their land. The webinar series is divided into 3 topics, each with 2 webinars. The first webinar of each topic will focus on providing information for you to make decisions. And then the second webinar will help you move to action by providing opportunities for discussion among landowners and interaction with professionals. So the 6 dates are January 18th, January 25th, February 15th, February 22nd, March 22nd, and March 29th. I can put this up on the Facebook forum as well.
Sure.
Um,
Bert, did you guys send anything out on this to the AdCom?
No, we didn't. No.
I know Sabrina forwarded something to us via email. Can maybe forward that off to Bert and he can share it with the AdCom
sure.
group as well. I mean, I
Oh,
think
yep.
they would be of interest as well, if you don't mind.
But I could do it again.
She's good. It's already in your inbox.
It's in your inbox, but I can resend it. I didn't want to get so much on the camera. The second series, this one is for farmers, landowners, and interested citizens. It's about invasive insects. We have one particular invasive insect. It's called the spotted lanternfly. This one in particular is detrimental to ag. It basically just eats fruit trees, I think blueberries, not 100% sure on all of the specific species, but it can be really bad for our farmers. So I'm going to read the blurb for this one. It says, join UMass Extension's Landscape Nursery and Urban Forestry Program, and UMass Extension's Fruit Program presents a series of free webinars focusing on the impact, monitoring, and management of invasive insects in Massachusetts and the nation. Topics to include spotted lanternfly updates, management, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that, forest pest risk, climate change, and beech leaf disease nematodes. Those dates are, each of them are from 9 a.m. to 11:45 a.m., January 25th, February 8th, February 22nd, and I think that's it. The price for these is free and anyone can join. Okay,
Share away.
cool.
All right, last under new business, Granville Gorge Kiosk Group. So Brian's not,
I know. I spoke to him over the phone earlier today.
yes.
He said he was going to reach out to IBS first to see if they have anything. He said the kiosk was designed to have that metal roof. So he's gonna try to get that metal roof We currently have a balance of $109.12 with IBS. So we're gonna see if we can get it first there. If not, we're gonna have to go somewhere else, but we have some money in the land management or trail management coffers.
Okay. When you talk to him again, tell him he still needs to finish the one in North Pond too. He needs to reach back.
That-
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so that's it under new business?
yes,
Okay.
Should we take the Noble Steed first before LMC
if you
updates?
want
I
to,
would
yeah,
love to.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so under old business, extension permit request for order of conditions. 17 Vining Hill Road, Noble Steed. And also Noble Steed, possible contaminated fill at site violation at future road crossing. So what do you got?
So I have a few things. The order of conditions expired yesterday. So no work is to be done in that area until it's either extended or there's a new NOI. I have something from the DEP with regards to this particular order of conditions and the extension. And there's 4 points that he
Mike,
pointed out.
Mark Stinson?
Mark, yep.
So
And
just so you know, he is like the zone, I'm not even sure what his title is.
our regional,
But he is the Western Mass liaison for Department of Environmental Protection. So what did,
do you want to read it? The highlighted?
sure.
Jeez.
All right. So this is from, just for the record, Mark Stinson, with the DEP regarding the enforcement order for Vining Hill Road
Not necessarily.
and the
Yeah,
order of
and the-
conditions both.
Yep, yep.
Extension with special conditions. So it starts off, I assume the commission has issued previous extensions to make it still valid. I showed the original order of conditions was issued on April 29th, 2009. So point one, the commission should realize that regulations have changed since the original order was issued. Number two, one of the reasons not to extend an order is if the boundaries have changed. If you extend an order, you are also approving the resource area boundaries from the original plan. Three, the regulations only require that the request to extend was submitted to the commission at least 30 days prior to the expiration. It doesn't state that you have to issue before expiration. So yes, you can, pardon me. So yes, you can require what you are looking for prior to the expiration. They would have to stop all work in jurisdiction when the order expires, while you are acquiring information to see if the wetland lines have changed, and then issue the extension after you have your information, even if it's expired, because they asked beforehand. Resource area boundaries are still the same legally when you issue the extension. Number four, however, you should not extend an order of conditions if the boundaries have changed. That would require an amended order of conditions, two different processes. Extending the order does not allow you to change the terms of or conditions of boundaries to the original order. You are extending everything that was approved in 2019, and the regulations don't say anything about amending the order.
2009.
2009, thank you. So I don't think the boundaries have changed. I think the boundaries have been,
I'm saying that I believe he means the boundaries of the wetlands.
right. Right. I think the wetland boundaries are still the wetland boundaries. I think there's violations going on within the boundaries, but the boundaries haven't changed. So I don't know as though there's a dispute over the changing of the boundaries.
So didn't we ask in the last meeting for a wetland delineation because it's possible that the boundaries have changed?
Well, we did ask for it. I'm just not sure we've seen anything showing that yet.
Okay.
So I would ask at this point, Jesse, I know you have been in conversations with Mr. Salvini.
Yeah, I hired Steve as wetland through
Okay,
the.
so
We're actually meeting on
site tomorrow.
He mentioned that. We saw him in the hall. I guess he was going up to, planning board meeting. So a couple of, let's break this off into a few things. There's the violations that are, let's get that out of the way first, and then we'll talk about this, right? Because I think that has it's germane to this, extending it. So there's been a lot of emails going back and forth between Sabrina, yourself, myself, a group of people regarding the work that you've been doing over there. Are you comfortable with where things stand right now as far as the erosion control measures that are in place?
I'm not sure about the erosion control, but the filtration system that's there, no.
Okay. Specifically, what is your issue?
Sediment is getting into the wetland resource next to the culvert area.
Still beyond those bales?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean down?
Down in the culvert. So what Jesse had put in was, sort of like a pipe and then some rock and then the sandbags. So during rainstorms, sediment is getting it's being sent downstream.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Don't get shit.
Steed. Was it? Let me just see if it was this one before I share. Okay. So this is during a rainstorm
Go
and,
back down and share.
oh. There. Oh, Norm's not paying attention. So this is during a rainstorm and you can see that the water's cloudy. I have a video which shows sediment going down. This is his pipe. I guess it's a pipe. That he put in on the other side of the sandbags and the rock. And water's supposed to go through there, get filtered. I think it's right here is sort of like oh no, right here is am I saying this right, Jesse? I think this is the end of the pipe with some sort of like filtration mesh. But it's going through the rock and it's going downstream. So here's a picture of it during a rainstorm.
That's also raw dirt, that's right there too.
Underneath is raw dirt. No.
Yeah, so if it's a heavy rain like it was kicking up the dirt.
Okay.
We'll go back.
So this is the rock that he put in, and then this is the sediment going through the rock down into the resource area.
The sediment can't go, it's clean coming out of the rock, they have a video of it. I sent you a picture of the clean water.
That's when the rain wasn't.
Yes, it was raining when I was
Okay.
out there.
Then it was raining harder when I took this.
Okay.
Can you guys,
So is the wetland scientist at this meeting tomorrow?
Yes,
What time are you guys meeting?
in the afternoon, approximately 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Is your schedule open?
was that 2 o'clock,
2:30.
2:30?
Do you have an issue if we join you at that meeting? Honestly,
Whatever you guys want to do.
my thing, Jesse, is I want to hear from, at this point, a wetland scientist. And I want to hear what they're saying about what's going on here. There's no doubt that you're putting effort into it. Whether or not the efforts are working, I would rather hear it from a professional. I mean, we're seeing silt go through here. You're saying silt is not going through here. I would rather talk to somebody who's educated in the matter and get their take on it. I don't know.
The only thing that I would say from what I can see just from the pictures is a lot of that looks like discoloration wall and from the discolored water, which like the stone and like that, no matter what you do, it's you're not, until you have like everything totally established vegetation, it's gonna be very, very hard to get rid of all discolored water. Like you could take dirt right from there, it's probably got a lot of clay in it, reddish color. Add some in a bottle, shake it up, see how many days it takes for that thing to settle out and become clear again, like that discolored water upstream going through stone is just not gonna magically make it be clear on the other side. They do make things like frock logs and stuff, which I don't know, they work somewhat. What it does is like, it's almost like a jelly and you like put them in wetlands area like that. And what it does is when the water passes through it, or somehow it makes this little bit of fine drop out of the water and run clear. They work somewhat, but are they 100% effective? No. But like I'm saying, like there's what is in place, it's you, no matter what, you're gonna see discolored water until you have 100% vegetation.
When is your plan to execute the next part of this project? No,
On the last 2 weeks, we've had OTO scheduled to go out there, but then we had either rain or snow events. So we've had to cancel. Now nothing, because I don't know when you're gonna give me my permit, so I can't do anything like that.
right.
So I'm not gonna make a schedule. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean. This is my opinion, I'm not speaking for the board. I don't want to see everything come to a halt, because quite honestly, I'd like to see this project done
Yeah, I wanna get it done, yeah.
off of our plate, right? But I also want to see the project done properly. And I think that until the project is done, this problem's never gonna go away. I just don't see it happening. I would just soon get the culvert in there and address it once the culvert's in there, because we could keep fighting this for the next 6 months and it's never gonna go anywhere until the project is completed, right?
I agree with you, Dave, about having an expert weigh in on it. This may be a normal situation, you know, for construction like this until a certain time afterwards, when everything settles down.
Well, I just think it's gotten to the point where you can't go backwards.
It's hard to tell if it's a problem yet, though, because
Well, it's been a
everything's getting stirred up, you know.
right.
And I did check down further in the woods, like in halfway between there and Big Y, and there's no discolored water going down. And that's been on each rain event that we've had when I've sent you those emails.
I was there the next day and the water seemed to be coming through more clear. Sabrina and I talked about that. And she sent me this video. This looks a lot.
Yeah, I
worse
mean,
coming out of
if
the
you-
stone
if-
than the
If
day I
you
was
take a
there.
larger picture view of that, there's still raw dirt on each side of that
Yeah.
from us picking the silt and driving through there, like. We weren't gonna get any vegetation back there. A month ago.
Right.
So yeah, is it gonna be cloudy? Yeah, it's gonna be cloudy, especially if it rains really hard.
I'm trying to find it. I can't, just the order of conditions, it says at no time shall there be sediment deposited into.
We know
the
that.
wetlands.
I mean, we know
Yeah,
that,
okay.
and it's been the
Just wanna-
same issue for
Like,
years.
this shouldn't be normalized. This is a real issue. I'm trying to find it, I'm not gonna find it, but I just wanted to make that point.
What are your thoughts, folks? I mean, we have, right now, what we have to decide is whether or not we want to extend his order of conditions based on what's happened to this point.
cannot amend the order of conditions to require,
The order of conditions is expired now.
but he already applied for an extension, which
True.
means we can approve it. And we can't put amendments on it. Anyway, I thought.
Didn't
the
Mark
thing that said
mention
we-
the,
We kind of can't, cause I
amend it.
thought that we discussed that we could amend it to how we wanted to, or was
They
that,
would require, you can do an amended order of conditions.
isn't that what we had loosely talked about at the last meeting was,
We did.
Yeah, hiring a wetland consultant and
there was a few things, amendments that we had talked about adding to the existing or the old order of conditions.
He's right, I remember that. Wetlands.
Which, the only thing that I'm in agreement with, well, it sounded like if we stop things, it potentially could make things worse.
I think
If it stops 100, like altogether, and then what do we do?
that's my.
Is that what, that's what your concern is too, right?
That's my kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Might as
think we
well.
should wait until what Salvini says.
Well, I'm in agreement with
Yeah.
that part. I want to be a part of that meeting tomorrow and have a conversation with you and Sylvie. And kind of table this until we have a conversation with the wetland scientist. I mean, it would have been, I know he had a conflict with another meeting, but it would have been great to have him here tonight.
yeah, I mean,
I get
we
it.
had it set up the last.
I get it. So, I'm just gonna suggest that we kind of table this until after tomorrow's meeting. Anybody that wants to join us,
Mm,
come on down.
So it essentially doesn't matter. We can reissue the order of conditions even though it's expired because you applied for it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Extend it, yeah.
Or
But we can extend it,
that's right, yeah.
but we'll extend it with
Conditions.
conditions. But I think a lot of it is based on tomorrow's conversation.
Yeah, if we said that if we wanted to change it, it had to be a new plan. Somebody had read that,
I don't know.
the same, but not on this.
Right, but this is from
Previous
the.
In the special order from the conservation board, it says that you guys can at any point add or subtract to the order condition.
We have that, no, we
I
have.
like the idea of amending it and not refiling the whole mess. I just thought it would come down that somebody said, no, I don't
So
want to get you in another conundrum.
That's something, nothing.
So we have enough of them.
if we delay, we won't bring it up again until our February 6th meeting.
But he doesn't have anything scheduled on the docket for the contractor to come in before then anyway.
Well, we were trying, it was loosely scheduled for this week, but I was.
Well, let's have
waiting for-
the conversation with Sylvie tomorrow. All right. So if you could just let us know the time that's gonna be.
Okay, I'll send an email out after I confirm with Steve.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning.
The other thing, do you have the paperwork from? Yeah. So. 4 of us showed up the other day at the Westfield Warehouse. Based on your appeal of the fine. You didn't show up.
Mhm.
So we had our conversation with the magistrate, we explained to the magistrate what we were doing. He had asked us to put everything, the $300 a day violation onto one ticket
Yeah.
and provide you with one ticket
Mhm.
up through when we started it until the time we decided to stop it at our last meeting. So to comply with the magistrate, we have that.
Yeah.
Okay, you can still appeal it if you want to,
This one.
but this is a citation that is being assessed to you at this time. So I need your signature saying you received it. You can go through the same appeals process. But as it stands right now, because the way it was originally written, somehow the magistrate has a hard.
It makes sense how it was written.
Well, right, so he's saying you're liable already for $300,
Yeah.
but this is everything up until that date minus the original $300. So I can tell you right now that road is run up to $10,800. All right, so this is the violation, this is the ticket. Again, you have an opportunity to go ahead and,
So what are we gonna do about that?
well, first off, we're gonna have a conversation about it. But you need to show that you're in receipt of it before we can discuss negotiating it.
Is that penalty?
Not sure if you want to ballpark.
Right
down.
there.
Yeah, and just make sure you press hard. So he gets one of the copies. It says on the bottom,
You're in charge of that.
white copy, hard copy, hard copy. Pink copy, white envelope. That letter is for him explaining, I don't know if you want that letter explains why we've gotten that one today.
That goes. We could have straightened this out, Jesse, if we were at the meeting together. At the courthouse. I have to say, we want to work with you, but 4 of us wasted our morning going to the courthouse for a meeting that you had scheduled and you didn't show up. So I understand you want us to work with you, but that just showed to me that you weren't taking this serious.
Well, you had a conversation about canceling it.
Well, so, okay. So you asked for the appeal at the courthouse.
Yeah.
You asked for that. So that court date was scheduled on your behalf. You didn't cancel it. So we were obligated to show up and represent the town. Right?
Okay.
We had to go. The only reason we could have gotten out of going is if you'd have called and canceled it. You didn't do that.
I think the discussion we had was to do something in lieu of, I don't recall canceling it. I know I had asked at the beginning about.
Well, that's what I meant, the canceling.
Yeah,
Which we could have had that conversation while we were there in front of the magistrate. And we actually had the conversation with the magistrate about what we were thinking about doing. He says that's kind of up to us what we want to do. But it would have been nice to have it in front of the magistrate while it was on the record, so to speak.
Well, I don't appreciate the fine. I'm a taxpayer in this town. But, I'm not just some piece of shit coming in to try and make $1 million off of people in the town. My kids go to school here, my wife teaches school here. I live here. And this is a kick in the balls, getting a fine, when I first got this,
Well, that could be-
and I don't need to be made an example of.
That could be flipped around the other way too. You're a member of this town, you're a member of this community.
Yeah,
The resources in this town are important to you and your family as they are as much to us. We're all volunteers here, Jesse. We give our time freely to work for this town to make sure that we're enforcing the Wetland Protection Act. So the people of Southwick have clean water, right? That's what we're doing. We're volunteering our time. And we don't appreciate it that every time you come in here and say you're gonna do something, you don't. And when we're saying we're gonna have meetings, you don't show up. So I don't wanna hear about it kicking your whatever. You know what? You've insulted this board over and over and over again. And you brought that fine on yourself.
okay.
You were warned many, many times. So you know what? I don't care if you don't like the fine, it's yours. The only one that can make that go away at this point is you.
yeah, I kind of feel like you're telling a cop you don't deserve a speeding ticket when you're going 70 and a 35. Because I live in town.
Yeah.
I don't see that as an out. I agree, there's issues with silt fence and sediment. I've been looking a lot into silt fence and sediment and It doesn't seem like that's not the right answer. People think it's like the save all, but it just doesn't do the job that its title implies.
I'm gonna make a motion that we extend this, that we continue this to our next meeting.
Table? Table?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Jared?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Let us know when the meeting is tomorrow. We'll see.
What's
that.
happening with this?
I'll talk to you about it tomorrow.
Okay.
Norm, LMC updates.
Yes, a couple of things from our last meeting on the 12th. The subject of 129 North Lake Avenue dock. The Despart dock. We believe, the LMC believes that conservation needs to get back in touch with DEP to find resolution for that problem. Because
Is this a chapter 91 license?
it's a chapter 91 license that supposedly was or was not approved.
Was it or wasn't it?
Huh?
Was it or wasn't it?
That's a gray area. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
At one point it was, but I'm not sure it is now, because it far exceeds the limitations of chapter 91. They have so much surface area there.
yeah.
So do we have a copy of their chapter 91 license? And doesn't that typically come with a plan?
I'm not sure we have a copy of their plan.
I am not sure of that. I know it's been discussed, and Dick seems to know about the particulars, so perhaps he has a better idea.
Right,
What's the address?
129 North Lake Avenue.
Um,
I think what they wanted was a,
Well, it's not in compliance with LPP because
chapter 91.
well, LPP is you had 600 square feet of coverage, and it's got like 1,800 square feet. of coverage.
Chapter 91 can be a whole nother set of rules. The bottom line is that we don't jurisdict chapter 91 license.
Right,
However, we can offer a letter in support when nothing's been done all these years. And I think that's what LMC was looking, because they
Yeah.
intend on writing a letter themselves,
Right.
from what I understood.
that's correct.
This doesn't,
He's looking for some solidarity, I think, is all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as far as my knowledge of chapter 91 is, if they apply for it and it's approved, we don't have any jurisdiction. Now, if they're going above and beyond what their chapter 91 license is that, do we get involved or the state get involved who's issuing the chapter 91 license? And it sounds to me like it has to go back to the state. All we can do is give an opinion.
Exactly. We're technically
Well, I
immune from dealing with chapter 91 licenses. However,
believe Dick believes that there is no approved chapter 91 license.
that's, yeah, and again,
Okay.
that's with Chrissy Hops and the people at the
That's what
waterways
we have to
protection.
find out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like I said, I think they're just looking for a little solidarity, that's all. We do agree that it's been going on a long time and, that's essentially it.
Supposedly 10 years.
So my thing philosophically is, who cares how big his dock is? Why is that important to anybody?
I think there's another issue. We sent them a letter saying that their dock's in the water after ice out.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a different story.
That-
And they're not
They're-
required to take them out.
they're literally permanent in there, so,
But their chapter 91 license, if they have
if
one,
they have one, so
can't allow
I,
them to keep it in there.
Right. It's a whole new set of rules, you
Yeah.
know?
so.
They could,
I
well,
think Jeannie's on vacation for the winter.
The woman from,
The owner,
yeah.
Jeannie
okay.
Despard, she said that she was gonna go away on some cruises or something, because her husband died.
Right.
yes.
Right.
And I think I also heard that when he was alive, he was gonna try to work on it situation, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
So can we at least find out whether or not they have a chapter?
I will get one-on-one with Dick and
Yeah.
get as much information as I can, and then I'll.
Yeah,
get
can we
back to
look
us.
it up though?
Okay, I think we can, but I can't figure out that website. It's finicky. I've
I
tried
don't think
looking.
they could figure it out
No,
either, because I remember a
he
bunch of
sent it,
emails.
he
about
sent
it.
a
Well-
fiery email to Best. He'd be like, I can't figure this out. And I think
I have a
Christie-
list.
Christie she wrote instructions or
There's an
something.
email trail from her. I don't know if it's about this property or others, but basically it's.
I was trying to look up 141 and I couldn't,
Yeah, maybe that was it.
No, I think that email trail was about 141.
Was it?
Okay.
it was, but it was about the website,
Chances are.
how
Yeah.
very unfriendly it
Chances
was.
are, yeah, sure.
So
So,
I'll take the action, get some more information,
thank you.
get it back to
Yeah,
us.
it's,
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at our two LMC liaisons
Yeah.
to conservation. I'm looking at US Conservation liaisons to LMC.
right.
Absolutely.
You're working,
Yep,
you got a
we'll do it.
double job now with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys think that there's a violation, then, you know, let's get the violation resolved. Again, personally, this is my opinion. I guess the question is, what harm is it doing?
You raise a valid point. I mean, you know, is it a navigational hazard? Is it?
It's kind of tucked over there, and I'm not just saying
Well-
that dock, I'm saying, you know, we get all worked up over docks.
Yeah.
And,
Well, if there was ice on the lake and there were snowmobiles,
yes,
it's a safety issue.
That I
It's
get.
not
You need lights,
properly
et cetera.
lit.
that I
Okay.
get.
And there are those that have agreed to put lights on chapter
Yeah.
91 docks and
We
then
don't even know if this is chapter 9.
there's others like me that just take their damn dock out. I have a chapter,
Yeah, I've seen,
you know?
I've been on the Despard dock. That's not coming out.
It's a.
No,
big-
it's
No,
in there.
Yeah.
That was very well constructed.
It's
Yes,
in the ground.
okay.
Yeah. The ice
It's gonna
can take
take
that
more than
away.
ice to get that thing.
Mine, the ice will take it away.
I think it might also be an issue is like if they have a lot of, they've exceeded the square footage of their allowable.
Mhm.
And if they exceeded their square footage and there's no issue with that, then what about someone else down the road exceeding their?
Maybe it
it's-
sets a precedent. yeah.
Right, so I understand that, but I would like to work with Jeannie and like
Yeah,
put this.
it'd be good
bed,
to get
so.
Dick's take on it too, because
Yeah.
he's fairly knowledgeable in these
Yeah.
areas and, you know, let's get his reasoning behind it.
He's gonna be like, take it down. I mean, that's, you know,
Oh, yeah.
that's gonna be his like,
Okay.
take it down, take it down.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll pose the issue to the
All right,
LFD.
let's follow
Okay.
up on that. What else you got?
Just an update on 141, former Krabby Joe's. The pump's still aren't working, so they haven't been able to do the dye test to see where the effluent would be going, sewage would be traveling, where it's going, is it going into town, is it going into the lake, is it going someplace else? So that still hasn't happened. The contract was signed for the dredging study. So the study is gonna take place.
Yeah.
So that will determine what the cost is and before we go out. Then the other
What are we
thing.
hearing, like 4 miles and 2
Oh, it's huge.
miles?
Yeah.
It's gonna go all the way to the Connecticut River, the dredging?
Well, no, but it'll go quite a ways into
It
Connecticut.
will,
Yeah, Past the beaver dam.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then we spent some time on the LLP form, trying to get our LMC's decisions of what they would like the new form to look like. And I think you have a copy of the
Yeah.
Massachusetts form in front of you. And Jean, I want you to pipe in on this one because you're really close to this one. I believe the changes are minor that we decided. We expanded the number of places for vessels. And that's for a couple reasons. There's now room for 10 vessels. More than 10, you're a marina, which is not legal unless you have a chapter 91. And in my inventorying of boats, there are a couple of situations I've seen where there's been more than 10 boats on docks.
Really?
On one piece of property. So we gotta make room for those people.
Can you say that property or is it,
Huh?
can you say what property it is?
Oh, I forget, there was one in Connecticut
Yeah.
that had,
Several
At South Pond?
PWCs and.
yeah, that was 2 years ago. They had over 10.
Is that big dock across from our beach? Like all the way across the lake?
It's all the way across.
Could be.
It's,
Okay.
and then there's one in, on Lakeview. That has 3 docks
Yeah,
and I think they have 10 boats.
and they have, well, it's two brothers and they built split properties, so
Yeah.
they're claiming, one of the docks is for one guy and one of the docks is for the other guy, and so they have so many.
So, but there are a lot with people, a lot with PWCs going,
Yeah.
lots of people have multiple boats, multiple PWCs.
PWC stands for
Personal water.
Okay,
Okay,
Jet ski.
yeah,
yeah,
the
those.
old jet ski.
Hmm.
So, so this is what we're proposing that we use.
Agree to the front one.
Yeah.
What I heard the last time.
Now, there's a second one for Connecticut that doesn't have fees on it. But Gene, you told me just before the meeting that you still were not pleased, and can we hear your comments?
If you look at the 2022, do you have copies of a 2022 application?
I have, hang on a second.
Can you share it? Because you'll probably be the only one that has it.
I can share it, but it's mine. I don't have the other one in front of me, but I have mine.
I mean,
Well,
I
let's see
can
if you're in
also bring it up
compliance.
online.
Stay here.
Okay, you gotta allow me to share.
I do.
One
You
of you,
think you
can.
are-
yeah.
it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Try it again.
Gosh. Let's see, boards and committees, conservation commission,
It should
LPP.
be online, yeah.
It is online, right?
Oh, mass,
Yeah.
Yeah, Mass is fine.
and then I can share.
There it is.
We've got this. Is it this one?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay,
current
let
one.
me see. Wait a second. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Bring it down, Sabrina,
Okay,
right there.
okay.
See this section that says complete this section only if information on the sticker to the right needs to be updated. Why did you take that off?
I didn't take that off. Somebody else had
Oh,
presented this.
Well,
Dare
let
you.
me explain that. I
Okay.
put stickers on these application that has the name, the property location, the mailing address, the email address, the phone number. And it's the same every single year for most people. So that's why I put that little sticker there, so I don't have to go through the same information every single year. Sometimes they have a new email address, so they just cross off their old email address and give me their new email address. Otherwise, I have to go through all this data for everybody all over
Okay.
again.
All right.
I'm keeping that on the application.
No choice.
No.
June says it's,
It's just causing 10 times as much more work when meanwhile, just putting a little sticker on the application for each applicant is
Okay.
going to take care of a lot of researching and looking up the same information that's repeated year after year after year after year.
So really, all you would do is just add the additional lines that you added and keep the rest of the form the same. That seems to be the only difference.
That
Right.
I complete this section only if the sticker to the right needs to be updated. That is staying on the application. I don't know why that was removed.
And the sticker to the right you put on.
Yes,
It's a blank spot.
Yeah, okay.
it comes from a mail merge database. That's all I do
Okay.
is tell it to print the stickers
Okay,
information, and it prints it for every single application.
so you'll need me to shorten these lines too, right?
Yeah, I can shorten
Yeah.
them,
Okay. Okay,
but I'm putting that back on. Both Connecticut and Massachusetts.
that's fine. We don't
Okay,
have any problem with that.
okay.
All right,
Other
so
than
that's
that, you're
gonna
good.
get changed. I heard it.
Okay,
I don't think there's any doubt that's getting changed.
okay.
No, not gonna change.
All right, so I don't need to do anything, Gene. You're gonna make the minor changes that. or
Yes, I
significant
will.
Changes we just, okay.
You're the best.
Yes, I
Thank you.
will.
Okay,
All right, let's move on. Possible.
well,
Oh, you got more?
I would like to give 2 questions update on survey if I could,
Sure.
but I need to be able to screen share.
I don't think I can do that while,
Can you do that, Gene?
No. Well, Sabrina, you need to stop sharing.
oh, is that why?
Yeah, now Norm can do it.
Still says host disabled participants.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Then
see,
Sabrina, you didn't set it up when you set up your Zoom.
who can share? Okay, I didn't.
Go up, click off above, right? No.
It's up.
We can share all applicants.
There you go.
Oh, try it now.
Now you're cooking.
Bingo. Okay, now Jerry's actually already seen this one because I pitched the same
Yeah,
one
that's
at,
okay. That was a good one.
Is it worth paying attention?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Some of it lends itself to what we were talking about earlier.
right. Okay, let's see if I can move this down. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do 2 questions, questions 11 and 12, and I'll go through them pretty quickly. And the first one was which type of development should be encouraged? Residential, business, industrial, office, agriculture, okay? And from the survey, encouraged, the number 1 was agriculture. Number 2 was business, number 3 residential, number 4 office, then industrial, then other, and then none. So you
And
see
those are the number of respondents.
the number of responses, yeah, from the public, okay? Yeah, okay, now, there was also a write-in portion on this one where you could put whatever you wanted to. And 73 was the number 1 to be encouraged. Sustainable farms was 2, cannabis farms was 3, year-round greenhouses was 4, and then it gets pretty small. Okay. And then for business development, it was make it small, make it a diverse restaurant, make it retail, make it independent, and it gets pretty small after that. And for residential, single family homes was number 1, number 2 was affordable homes, condos and elderly, and then it gets pretty small after that. And then office, the number 1 was making medical, number 2 professional, any, and then startup, and then it gets pretty small after that. And these will all be sent to you by Sabrina,
Okay.
okay? And then the top 10 industrial was keep it small, keep it light, keep it high tech, make it manufacturing. And notice that solar farms was the lowest one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
We have
I
enough
personally
for the
feel
outline, right?
they're an eyesore. Now, the next question was development strategies. I can't see this unfortunately, so I gotta pull up my. Where are you? Well, anyways, we're going. Okay, do you oppose or support the following development strategies over the next 20 years? And it gives us a bunch of options. And the number 1 was educate landowners on protecting land.
Sabrina, can you move the pictures, the faces?
It's like, it's using mine.
There you go.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize.
Okay, and this, actually, we covered this one earlier. We talked about education on how to, what to do with your property.
Okay.
That's number 1, educate landowners on protecting their land. That falls into that one. Number 2, additional zoning to protect agriculture. Number 3, balanced development with water supply, one of my favorites. Number 4, acquire land for wildlife preservation was very close to the top. Number 5, acquire land to restore wildlife habitat. So we could use this with the select board saying, the public says it's okay, you know? Okay, and then acquire land for passive and active recreation, then acquire land for recreation, then update zoning boundaries, zoning for mixed-use development. And let's look down here. Expanding zoning for business, the negative took over. Okay. And higher zoning or zoning for higher density housing. Negative was really bad. Okay, so this
Which
really,
is, every time I look at these things, I sit there and I think there's contradictions, particularly when it comes to housing. Because we keep saying more affordable housing, but all we want are single family homes, which are the most expensive form of housing,
well,
where, you know, mixed use, condos, all of that is typically the lower entry level homes people get into.
well, but the single homes that we build in Southwick are $500,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody, and they're 30,000, 3,000 square feet,
Yeah.
you know, so,
Well, the ones over on the ranch east, right?
Yeah.
They're not that size. They're pretty
Some
small
of them are
houses, but they're
small.
still $400,000
yeah.
per 1,600 square feet.
Yep, less than 2,000, yeah.
Well, and that also contradicts your additional zoning to protect agriculture. So we want all this open space, all this wildlife, all this land for recreation, but we want our single family houses on big lots, taking up all the land.
Mhm.
It's like, well, if you make these little communities that people can actually walk from to the store,
Well,
which would protect your environment, your habitat. It's just, it is terribly contradictory.
What's the way the people?
Right.
You
That's
know,
the way they see it.
well, people don't like a lot of change, just, that's normal behavior.
That's kind of what's coming out
For
of
the
it.
people
Yes.
that are filling out this road, so it's kind of lean in this way, you know.
Keep it as it is.
So I have.
Well, I will say this, I mean, if you look at the numbers reflect not a lot of change, and the vast majority of people that took this are over 50.
That's right.
I was gonna ask if you had a demographic.
Yeah, the demographics, you look at it and you think it's a 20-year plan, and it's like, knocking on wood, half these people make it 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't apply to half the
Right.
people that answered the questions.
Yeah,
But, you know, if the younger people didn't want to get involved and answer the survey, then, you know, your voices only gets heard if you speak up.
It's those that filled out the survey.
So,
so
okay.
FYI, we had 900 responses to our survey. And we're under 10,000 people.
9,000 plus.
Westfield, 40,000 people, had 600 on there.
Wow.
So we did a good
It's all
job.
due to the,
Listen, I think,
It's all about the little.
the
Better
little
advertising,
characters.
yeah.
Sold it.
It was the 2040.com that did
I
it, right?
think comparatively, we did a good job. I still think when you get 10% response, it's,
Yeah,
I mean, marketing will tell you a 10% response rate on anything is good. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Could have
Yeah.
been better.
yeah.
Just a
Okay.
question on that last slide.
Well,
The difference between acquire land for passive and active recreation and acquire land for recreation. Is the acquire land for recreation like parks? What's the difference between the two?
well, I don't know.
Active recreation is definitely ATV ride.
Of course, you're.
Yeah.
Jet ski.
More
Absolutely.
vehicles in the woods, right?
Yeah,
That's, you know.
Yeah,
Definitely dirt bikes.
you know, I would say,
The other one's pickleball.
I know.
Yeah.
Where we don't want.
Wally Park would fit into
Recreation, right?
Yeah.
acquire land for recreation, and Sofinowski would be more of
Passive.
passive.
Hiking.
How
Yeah.
passive and active get lumped into the same one.
Right.
Active is like soccer fields, baseball fields.
That is
actually
Yeah,
Up there doing stuff.
Tennis
Yeah.
courts, yeah,
And
Yeah.
passive is like walking through the woods and listening to the birds more.
that's right.
Okay.
Which we have a lot of.
Mm.
so there was also a write-in portion for this one. Wasn't a big one, as you can see, but open space. Got 15, farming got 13, and business got 12, and zoning 9, and housing 9.
Off-road.
4.
And as you can see, I filled out the pin 4 times.
Okay, okay, and this is just a continuation where it gets real small.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of
so-
responses.
So that's the scoop for tonight, and if you're interested, I'll do a couple or maybe 3 next time.
Thank you. I think it was very timely because you're right, it kind of tied into some of the conversations that we had
Yeah.
earlier.
Well, it's good.
So we are at least looking into what the townspeople, at least 900 of them say is important. So,
Right.
You know, we're rowing in the same direction. All right, moving on, possible subcommittee, any change, movement?
No. I'm wondering if we should just do it.
I thought we were just gonna do
Just,
it.
yeah, so I think I was a little confused or am a little confused as far as what type of subcommittee we can have. Like, can we just have a group of volunteers create a subcommittee for Concom without going through town vote and like creating
Yeah,
a
I
whole
think
structure,
we
like.
determined that
Yeah.
if it's managed by us and not through the select board, then it doesn't have to go through town vote. But I don't want to create a subcommittee just to create a subcommittee. You know, I mean, it should have a purpose, right? So it should have a mission statement, and this is what it's for, and this is what the responsibilities of this particular subcommittee are.
Mhm.
Right? And then we have to go through as a committee, if it's a subcommittee of us, we have to approve it. And then we have to take a look at the members, just like the select board would do to our committee, and we have to approve those members.
Was the open space committee that format? Cause I feel like we should just resurrect
The
the
open space committee, I don't remember.
I feel like
Talk to Dennis.
it was a land management committee, which morphed into the open space recreation plan committee, and then that's where it died.
Yeah, no, it was a committee, and then the committee was disbanded. But it was disbanded, I believe, by the select board, so it was under the select board's jurisdiction. I think they may have chosen the members even. Touch base with Dennis. I was on the commission when we had it, but I didn't really do much with it. So I was not on the open space committee. I had one.
Only their embodied.
Well, no, I mean, they met separately from Concom,
Right,
and really, we just said, this is what they talked about, kind of like what's going on with LMC.
Yeah, they have a canal
Yeah.
subcommittee.
Yeah, so, but that's kind of, if you want to just go ahead and do it, I think we can just go ahead and do it, but we have to do something formal and say. this is
okay, all right,
What it's all about.
work on the mission, copy it from the open space mission.
Yeah,
Copy everything, basically.
regarding the possible conservation fund, well, we just table that until we have that meeting with Laura, unless you know of anything.
Did I tell you about the trust? I had somebody, not Laura, in town who was an accountant, sort of look into things. And we do have a conservation trust. But I don't have any information on that trust as far as what that trust is for.
Yeah, which bank is the money in, is the town holding the money,
I don't think it's the same thing as the fund.
does it
Yeah,
have an
conser-
accounting code?
I can give you the paper.
Here, just hand me the, don't take it out, just hand me the money.
When I talked to Dennis, he said that he thinks Michelle's a little confused and that what we have is not a conservation fund, it's something else. Those are the
Here's the
other,
one that says trust,
the one that was shown to you.
so it does have an account. It has,
Mhm.
you mean the Goose Pond?
Nope, the next one.
Yeah, so it does
Conservation
have,
trust.
okay,
Yeah,
and it says there's an available budget. Total revenue. So it's just like,
and Jim said, read it the opposite way.
$13,000 in it,
We have 13.
12,968. Yeah, we just gotta find it, but because it has an accounting code for the town, then Laura Fletcher should know about the account.
Right, yeah. So. We
I
gotta,
wanna see the paperwork behind it, what it was
Yeah.
set up for and what the use is.
yep, I didn't have access to that. I only had access to just,
I would think she should have
I
that.
would hope so,
So,
but, I just had someone look into that and this.
yeah, well, I just asked Melissa to
Oh,
poke her
yes.
about getting together. So we're gonna have our budget coming up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
I
another.
want to
thing.
get together with the town accountant to find out what we have in our accounts, what our expenditures are. Saw your email,
Right, because I've never done this before. Do we have?
so
to
I'm
have
gonna
a
tell you what's gonna
Okay,
happen. Every year, they're gonna come out and say you have to leave your. So everything that you wrote on there, which was nice. They're gonna say you have to reduce your expenses by 5%.
all right,
From my perspective, the most important thing that we need to get done this year is get Jean on our regular budget and
Right.
taken off of the revolving account. Which is gonna add her salary to our budget, which means our budget is not gonna shrink by 10% or 5%, it's gonna go up tremendously. So that's gonna be fun. Then we can decide that revolving account, what can we do with the money in that revolving account? As opposed to pay somebody's salary, maybe we could use that for some of the other things that you had listed on there.
yeah,
Instead of asking it to be put into our budget that has to get voted on at town meeting. Right, and it has to get voted on by the finance committee, let's get Jean in there. Take that revolving account money, and then that could be kind of like the wish list stuff.
mhm,
All right, but that's always gonna be dependent upon, how much money we bring in. Going in and asking for a huge increase to our budget, it's not gonna happen. It's just not. Again, they start off with 5% less every year. We've been pretty good over the last few years about being pretty much status quo.
mhm.
Uh,
I think in 2021, for the land, for the trail maintenance, it was 4,700. And then the following year, it was 3,700. So,
If we didn't use it, we probably lost some.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was where we decided to give back a little bit to the town. That 5% may have come out of that if we weren't using the money.
I mean, I'd like to fight for more money. I did get hired, and when I got hired, I was told I was gonna be able to have training opportunities. And then we also have some expenses for North Pond that we're talking about over the summer, and we need money for that.
We also have money set aside for North Pond already. We have
Just,
that $15,000 from the CPC that's set aside for North Pond.
yeah, one of those things I'm thinking is the porta potty that was up for debate.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, and I think it was the select board who may have said I can't remember if they wanted the porta potty, but if they want the porta potty, we need money for it.
Yeah,
So-
the porta potty.
Envisioning a porta potty up in their meeting room, like the select. It's like flash.
They want
Like,
the porta
okay,
potty.
save them some
Well,
time.
we can go into that in a little bit more detail on the next meeting. We can,
I mean, the next meeting at that point, the deadline's up. The deadline's February 3rd.
For what?
To submit the packet.
we can ask for an extension. We do almost every year.
Okay.
I haven't seen the packet. Where's the packet? They sent it out?
I sent it to you. Email. Oh, I sent it to you and I was like, hey, what's going on with this? Does it need to be discussed? I didn't put it on the agenda.
Is
OMG.
that today?
Yes.
Wow, it is today.
But
When
I
did we
think
get
it was also CC to you and Jean and me. I think that's who. If
Yeah,
not,
I don't recall. Again, I have to
Huh.
look at it and we have to
Yep,
have a conversation with, Laura.
who means?
Laura, okay. Anybody else have anything?
Like I said, I am working on that. On the rail trail for that access over by the rail trail loop up.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody know.
Oh, yeah.
Here's scuttlebutt about it.
Yeah, what's the deal on that? Is it gonna go up to the parking lot or something?
I'm gonna try to get it to be like a handicap access and parking spots there. And also the emergency vehicle access.
Oh, nice.
You want any of this stuff?
Town already owns the land, the parking.
You can zip up and get a beer right from the rail trail.
Right,
It's nice, Keith.
but there's like such limited parking for the rail trail.
Yeah.
Well, there is, yeah.
And any other business, I mean, I put a business in town and I had to have parking and all these requirements you need to open a business in this town, that needed none of them to open. So, yeah. Kind of gonna play catch up a little.
Right, right.
Cool.
Let us know how you make out.
I shall.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here.
Okay, have a good night.
No.